Evening, everyone, or as I will say it again, morning when this episode comes out. Um, this is the final episode of the season, and we said we would do it. It is. We've got all three managers here, all three hosts, and we're going to have a nice little season review. So, how was everyone?
Marvellous.
Yeah,
Fantastic, mate.
Yeah, all good, mate.
good.
Yeah, I say no. Lovely, mate. Lovely.
Good stuff. Obviously, first season. Yeah, it was a bit of a whirlwind, if I'm honest. I can't believe it's finished already, and we're not playing again until July. So plenty of stuff going on before then.
Yeah.
But no, how would you rate the first season? Host first, managers after.
Okay, I'm gonna say
Get their
there you
opinion
go.
first.
Yeah.
Right? How are you
I've
feeling?
never done it. With him. Never done it with him in front of me. It was brilliant. Yeah, like I say, I'm not really familiar with non-league football, like in terms of divisions and stuff like that. So when we was trying to get into Division 2 and ended up in the Prem, I know of a different league, but I was a bit daunted, thinking would we be ready? And then the first 6 games kind of played out like that, and then I was very daunted. But I'll never forget walking across the pitch with Sean, and we both looked at each other like, I think we might have bit off a bit more than we can chew here. And yeah, no, but after, well, 6, 7 games in, it all turned around in our favour, and it ended unbelievably. So I think it's brilliant, well above what I expected, certainly from the start.
Definitely. Yeah, no,
Warren?
it's just exactly what Frank just said. Obviously, we always go back to those first 6 games. Obviously, after those, you think, oh, we've done the right thing, setting this club up, etc. But since then, things have kicked on, massively improved. And it's just great to have local football back just around the corner. Just makes your weekend.
No, we've said it before. It's not quite the same watching someone else's football team. It's no, it is good. You don't want to be going to random games on a Saturday and picking who's closest to home. But no, as we said, after 6 games, it wasn't the most comfortable feelings. From my personal experience, Jono was at home pretty much every night going, when are we going to win a game? Because he was struggling. So, but no, it was, I loved it. Obviously, it got better and better as the season went on. And yeah, it's, as we said before, it's only the beginning. So now across to the managers. Expectations at the start, and how do they compare to what was achieved?
Expectations. For me, obviously going into a league was unfamiliar with a brand new team. I thought if we, you know, first thing is not get relegated. The first thing. After 6 games, are we? But we always said, and then obviously bringing Mr. Covo in next to me on my left, I think we improved massively. And I think my expectations turned around probably after the Barnston game here.
Yeah.
And I thought we could get, if we could get top 10, 10th, I think we've had a tremendous season. To finish 8th, I think it's brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I think so. Just touching on what Kev was saying, and to be fair, I think 10th was a bit maybe ambitious.
Yeah.
After that 6 games.
Yeah.
But I must admit, and I think probably only you would agree with me on this. I think at that time, that little block of 6 games, I thought, maybe more me than you, I'm not sure, but definitely the pair of us, some percentage, whether it's 60-40 or what, but I felt like we was the only real ones that properly believed that we could survive in that, if I'm honest, in that Premier Division. That would be my honest opinion. And I think for us, every time, the first 6 games, I'll be honest with you, even having 6 home games on the bounce.
Yeah.
I think that was ours as well.
That was a slog.
It was.
And it was like, I felt, I don't know how you care, but when we used to walk off that pitch from the dugout and you walk across there and you've got everybody up here looking down on you, you have to come up them stairs and it's lost.
Yeah.
And it's like, but I think there has to be some sort of credit to probably the parents and the players. I won't include because he wasn't here at the time, but to keep going, I still think this is the right thing.
Yeah.
And obviously eventually it turns around and it's been a great season since.
Yeah.
I think when you're, what was we? I don't know. I can't remember how long it was before the actual season kicked off, but we didn't. properly know what league we was in, what division we was in. I think we was all sort of floating around the
Yeah, it
idea
wasn't
to
long
Div 2 of the
before.
Prem,
Yeah.
Div 2 of the Olympian, sorry, and then to then go, which I must admit again was probably false by us to go. Let's go with the Prem of the obviously the league that we ended up in. You sort of put your head.
It was. We were sitting
put
there.
your head above the parapet a little bit.
Yeah.
And you sort of going, if this goes wrong,
Yeah.
this is coming on us. Fortunately, it's
Send it
Oh,
up,
well,
yeah.
but yeah. So
That's
answer your
fair.
question.
I think
Senior.
Right, for me, I've got a little bit of a different view because
You was in that camp, wasn't you?
no, I'm not gonna.
But not.
No, if you're gonna start a row,
Oh.
Here we go. How long? 5 minutes?
You might want to leave.
I might need to change what I was about to say. So, okay. So, I mean, for me, I knew what was going on. I was sort of like aware of the one thing I wasn't aware of. Like yous, I knew nothing about the level, and I don't mean that for obvious reasons. I knew nothing about the level at all, and for yous to come in, and I think the credit needs to go to yous because. Don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically you'd only ever manage kids teams, yeah. And all of a sudden, you're at a new place, a new ground, a new level, teams that you haven't got a clue about. There's no history on them, no background, anything about what they can do and can't do, who they've got playing for them, whatever. So for you to come in, I'm not surprised you lost the first 6. I actually thought it was more than that. But anyway, I'm not surprised.
It felt like it at points, I got to say.
I'm not surprised. I mean, even the players that you had, your players, so many players there you knew nothing about. They've come through a one-day trial situation. And let's be fair, if you had 2 eyes and 2 legs on that day, you're going to get picked. So let's get it right.
Congratulations, lad.
Yeah, well in.
Just to point out, 5-0.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, to try and keep it serious, you still deserve a lot of credit because, you've had to, as you just said, you are the ones who had to walk up here after a game, having been beaten, again, and that's not a great walk, is it? I only did the walk on the wins.
He was at the top of the stairs in the other game.
Yeah. Smug.
I do smug really well though. No, but and after that, it's so different. I mean, I think the fact that it still helped you to. I know you tried to get involved some senior players, and there was involved at the early stages. Personally, don't think. I understand the reason for trying to get them because what they can offer the younger, inexperienced. But then when you're looking at standards to try and keep, I think that made it very difficult with some of the senior players. And if any of them are watching this, yep, I do mean you. So you've only managed kids or young men, and now it's young men, but they're only still young men. And when I say young, I mean probably some of them are, I don't know, 22s, 23s, and some are a bit older. But it's not necessarily their age; it's their experience they've had in the past, the levels that they have played at. If you've got, I don't know, 15, 19-year-olds, and they've all come out of West Ham reserves, it's a different ball game, isn't it? But, you made it was very difficult for you to get that sort of continuity, that experience, that level of performance. How are you going to get that when you know nothing about really, and you've had to learn that on the job as you've gone along? And you've done, I think you've done really well. And I do mean that. That's not a joke.
Yeah, that was a big eye-opener for me on the early podcasts or on the ones we've done before with the players. And how many of them, when we moved on to the questions of who have you played for before, how many of them went, well, I sort of knew Covo from kids football, and then I see him on the train and things like that, and all this madness. I think to get them from that level to that level.
Well, a lot of them are they're lads that I had.
Yeah.
What do well, I mean, like 5s and 6s, and then
Yeah,
up to under 16s. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was like through the summer.
yeah,
saying, look, this is what we're doing. Do you want to come and have a go at it? And I think when a lot of them had gone away from probably when I had them at 16 years old, they'd probably drifted into either not playing Sunday league football with their mates and things like that. But it's like, I'm hoping that you can come back in and do the job I thought you could have done
back then,
years ago. And I think to be fair, to credit to some of them, because they've come back,
Yeah.
bought into it, loved it, and now they're probably on the ladder, which they probably should have never fell off of in the first place.
yeah.
But yeah,
No, I agree with that. I mean, at the beginning, I didn't quite see it like that because I knew, I mean, I used to watch your kids' teams and I knew a lot of the players. And at that time, somebody said to me, what's your opinion on such and such, such? Do you think you can go and play senior football? Well, there is different levels of senior football, and some of them have done really well and come through it. And they're not only better players now, you know, well, they are better players, definitely. And they're better people because they understand football a bit more now. In the football world, they're better people. That's what I'm trying to say. They will understand the game a lot more than they did 5, 6, 7 months ago, how long ago it was. So, once again, that's a credit to you because you backed them. You said they could do it. I didn't really know, but didn't think that was the case. But, you know, well done to you. I don't know.
I agree with you, Covo, on that because there was a few players that I had said to you at the time, didn't I?
Yeah.
I just aimed, I'll name one of them. And at the time, I didn't think Bobby at the beginning of the season couldn't do it. He wasn't doing it. But what a change around, you know.
Huge.
And as I said, credit to him because he said, "Look, stick with them.
Yeah.
Stick with them. They will come." And to be fair to Bob, you know, he had a fantastic season. Yeah, at the end, you know.
He's a different player, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Different player.
yeah.
I mean,
And that's no disrespect to Bob if you're watching.
No.
But he will.
He'd better be, yeah.
he's on the train.
what I would say is this is not me blowing my own trumpet, but these young players that these two have brought in, I could tell they just needed guidance. And that's what I was able to give because one, I'm used to, you know, the football side of things. And two, I have worked with young players, you know, and you know, I've been a school teacher. So you understand that transformation from being there to there, you know, age groups. And they just needed, obviously we've done the guidance thing, but for me, I thought they massively needed loads of banter because they're good, lively lads. And if you can join in and match them and meet them with their banter.
The only reason. Cheers, Luke. Thanks for coming, mate.
We'll talk about him later.
We'll get on to him later on, yeah.
I'm sure there's a question there.
I think if once they see that you're not on their level, but you sort of are in a way, and it all became a bit of a togetherness. Really.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I'm trying to say.
Thing is, I think like when you look at them as well, is you go, what they, you know, if you sent them out there and done a fitness test with them, they're probably just as fit as other players at the level. They can probably do what they can do. The ball at their feet is the same as most other players. It's like, you know, Wayne said, it's understanding the game, doing the right things in the right area. Do you know what I mean? It's like you put that in, that's then going to separate you from him.
Yeah. And it's the difference between kids and men's football, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, just kids football, it's the fastest or the most skillful. Men's football's not like that. Certainly not.
Nobody would ever have said to that lot that any experience in their football career so far, do us a favour, get it out your feet and stick it in that channel.
In the channel.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're hearing that for the first time. But then they're sort of not, and they should question it. I get that, and they would have questioned it. But then all of a sudden, when you explain why you do that at this level, you know, we're not Barcelona. We can't keep the ball. We can't keep possession. We're under pressure. Get it under in that channel.
Yeah.
Squeeze up. Get your shape, and you're ready to go again.
Yeah.
And they got that. They not only got it, they was doing it without having to be told.
Yeah.
They knew the score. They just took every bit of information on board. And they were brilliant. I mean, my admiration for these two is one level. My admiration for that group of players is another.
Yeah.
You know, yes, I have worked with a lot better players that's different. They were picking up all sorts of money. These are not. They're doing it for the love of the game, which is brilliant. And as I say, I genuinely appreciate everything they gave everybody on this side.
Yeah.
So what would you say, in your point of view, the turning point in the season was? Could you put it down to one thing, or do you think like a collective?
For me, I'd say there's different things, different bits and pieces you put in. If I'm honest, I'd say I think.
Yeah.
I was
But that is
exactly the same.
because I still think, like, I'm going to touch on a second ago. I think the players, well, we knew we could do it, but we needed, at the time, we wasn't really coaching. I probably more stepped into coaching them at one point, didn't I? But I was like, it's hard to manage and coach, and you need somebody. And obviously, he's come in and you do probably 90% of the coaching now, don't you? We sort of leave you to it. And I think, so, and to touch on that as well, is I think if you look at the three of us, I think the players, even this, how many players probably worked in a time where they sort of have three managers, really?
Yeah.
Well, I know we're probably officially, but it is.
Yeah.
We ain't got no egos. We just get on with it, and we all do our bits. And I think for the players, I think they love it.
They do, yeah.
So I think it
When it's
works
speaking to
well
us, they love it, don't they?
Yeah. So I think that was a turning point. If you talk game wise, you probably have to look at Barnstone when Newby.
Yeah,
First
that was the
win,
first win, wasn't it? Yeah.
So there's different bits.
Yeah, on and off the pitch kind of thing, yeah.
Whatever you
Makes
know.
Well, I echo what you said about this man on my left. I think he said to me, look, I'm thinking about asking the old man to come in, what do you reckon? And with that, Fal said, yeah, get him in.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
He didn't ask, that's why.
He went, I'm the daddy round here.
Who do you believe?
I know, I put my money on.
But for me, another game-wise for me is, and I know this probably sounds a little bit stupid in a way, because we was Mum was a part of this. What he wanted to do, I wanted to do, and we sort of compromised 60-40. I think Kings Park away.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say that.
I think Kings Park away was. You weren't there for that. No, you didn't.
No, I
No.
wasn't invited.
Every
No,
game.
it was on holiday.
Oh, there you go. Sun in it.
Yeah, I think Kings Park for me, because I know we lost the game, but we could have quite easily took a point, even won the game. But I thought the lads that day dug in, and for me, that was a massive turning point.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sorry, jumping on that. I think when we talk about experience and understanding the game, I think that was the first game where we was able to throw something.
In it, and
Even though you've played this formation for X amount of weeks, we're going to throw something at you and say, can you put it?
Because we sort of playing with like three centre halves, weren't we? At the start of the year, weren't we? And did we
we
change
played a
them?
wing back.
Yeah, with wing backs, yeah.
4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
And then that game we went to a wing back again.
Yeah.
It was 4-5-1. 4-5-1, didn't it?
4-5-1. That was it.
Yeah.
We had two, and we was like two banks, 4-5-1, two banks sitting low, trying to play on the counter.
Yeah.
To be honest, I thought they'd done it perfectly.
Yeah.
Now,
That was an amazing
and
game.
if you're looking at understanding of the game, we couldn't have asked that of them a month before.
No, definitely not.
We
Yeah.
turned up and said that's what I don't think they would have done it.
No.
Some would, some wouldn't. That was the biggest thing at times. You look back at them early games, and some people are going to do one thing, and others are still here, and it's like they all need to be on the same page. And I think that was the first time.
I think Kings Park was a turning point.
Yeah. To anyone who doesn't know, I mean, Kings Park playing budget, I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's pretty outrageous.
Yeah.
It's bigger than ours, but it's more than £1.
They don't just get chips.
I think they had Akin Fenwa on the bench, didn't they, towards the end of the
Yeah,
season? So
something
this
like
is the level we're talking.
I think he lost on his debut as well, so we're not talking about that. But no, just to echo Kings Park, I think for me there was points in games before that, obviously where we played well. We had patches of it, but I feel like Kings Park was a real proper performance. After we conceded that early goal, we did go 1-0 down after a few minutes, and I thought, oh no, this could be heavy. But then, straight after that goal, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different. It was literally like someone flipped on a light, and we was a completely different side after they scored their first goal.
Yeah.
And it was
over the course of the season. I think if you look at it, I think we've had to go a goal down and get playing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of
you know?
times. Yeah, absolutely.
We go a goal down and we just
or two.
We had about 2 or 3 games in a row, didn't we? Where we just sort of started like we was asleep, and then all of a sudden woke up. And, you know, really, if we'd have started like it, we'd have won the game. You know, where we might have got a draw again. I think Cressing stands out.
Yeah.
Where we 2-0 down.
Slightly different. It's Brighton's year. We've done really well.
Yeah.
Nice and
Yeah, in fairness, like I say, they got some good forward. They got a good forward line there, haven't they? A bit more experience than us. And again, but I think every game, I think we've learned. You know, I definitely see it. I think my turning point, I think the one where I saw the most maturity, I think it was White Notley, when Greavesy got a couple of lovely goals. Right. But again, it was like a bit of a bitty that White Notley wasn't as bad at that time as they ended up being. They were actually quite a good side. I think they probably had the better of the first half, but I remember them coming out very mature second half, just staying in it, and then using the quality and getting a couple of goals. And I think that was our first away win, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And from then on, I don't think we lost many, did we? We definitely did. Maybe Kings Park and Brighton. I think beyond that, yeah.
Last game.
Moved on from that. Exactly. Yeah.
No count.
Exactly.
I think also what I'm in this mood where I want to praise them.
God. Don't get that very often.
Take away, can.
We'll have a negative one tomorrow.
Yeah, we've got proof.
I think now, I mean, if I was to, I don't know, walk away and not be a part of this, you know, from now, these two would be completely different to when they started to begin the season.
Yeah.
Because the one thing, it's very easy for someone like myself to bring a bit of organisation to the situation. And now, if I walked away, they know that they could do that themselves. They could carry that on now, which is good. You know, i.e., just organisation before the game. Everybody needs to know their job. They need to know their job within the gameplay, within set pieces, whatever, you know. And they would provide that automatically now.
Yeah.
You know, which, yeah. So, you know, I'm glad because I've always wanted him to, you know, to follow. It's not in my footsteps because I've only got little feet. But no, I'd like him to stay in football. Staying in football, you know what I mean? I'd like him to be a really good manager, shit player.
That's polite.
John, don't. He's right, big Tony. He's there. No, you can't do that.
You don't have to.
Hey,
what was
is this half? Is that half? We've had worse play for us this year. That's all I know. At the start. Yeah.
He ain't done bad. Yeah, changed the game at White Notley, if I remember right.
You saying
So I think we got your answer to this, Kev. But which player surprised you the most this season? You said Bobby. And you kind of agreed. Is there any others that?
Who are you thinking?
I personally, when you were talking earlier, I thought you would have said Bailey.
Bailey, yeah. He's had a strong end to the season, hasn't he? Really, really.
Yeah, to be fair.
When you're talking about players that I had
young,
I had Bailey at like 10, something like that. And we went and watched Bailey last year, didn't we? When we were sort of trying to, when we thought we was going to go Div 2 in the Olympic, we said, we'll go and watch one. I was like, well, actually, one of our players is playing in that division. Let's go and watch it. Awful. And to be honest with you, that includes Bailey. Even though he told me to play well at the time, I was like, awful Bailey.
Yeah.
But he
it was a nice drinking chocolate in the bar.
It was actually, yeah. It was. Bloody fruity as well that day. I was like, God, it's hot chocolate. But no.
Did you remember that?
Oh,
God.
I get flashback.
But he
That was good for you.
It was the highlight of being out for a day with these two.
Fair.
yeah, no, I thought you would have gone.
No, Bailey, yeah, you're right, to be fair.
But it's a funny one. It was like with Bailey, like I've told you this before, but it's, again, I've known him for years. And I think he's a little bit, some players can take a real shout at that. And, you know what I mean? I'm not saying he can't, but that's not him. That's not what does him a favour. And I think we went for a spell of games, probably more so, is that fair to say? Than,
yeah.
Well, I would say to him, you're playing 90 minutes today. Where you can be absolutely terrible. You are playing 90 minutes of that.
Yeah.
And I think he would probably turn around and say that done him a favour.
Yeah.
Because it took the pressure off of him that he had to perform. And all of a sudden, I think then you started seeing the player we maybe got from Christmas onwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the midpoint, definitely.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's been
And I
cool.
think-
Yeah.
I think with him as well, I think he's come alive. He's played in the 10. He's played on
Yeah,
the
let's
left.
say
He's
that.
played on the
Yeah.
right.
And wing back.
He's played a wing back, and
Centre midfield last game of the season.
Yeah, he was,
yeah,
wasn't he?
so it was. Yeah, I think wherever he's played at the back end, since probably Christmas around that time, he's been superb. to be
Yes.
fair.
Yeah, he definitely has.
You
Yeah.
know.
And we found out he's quick.
Yeah.
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 Didn't know.
Yeah,
He was quick
he's-
when I had him as a kid.
I think that's something else, really. I mean, you've just said it yourself. You had Bailey as a kid. I used to watch Bailey as a kid. He always had something. I wasn't too sure what until I see him play here. But what you just said, when you guaranteed him, you're going to play 90 minutes. So he put his faith into you. I don't mean faith. He put it into
I thought we might have played
Definitely anyone would.
We can all agree on that.
That's a whole different story for another day.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how many
Parental
colleges
warning.
we up to now.
Yeah.
Down.
Parental warning going out. Right, you was going back to
But seriously, you gave that would have been a great confidence boost to Bailey. And unfortunately for Bailey, if he could talk through a game, it'd be even better. But it's not his personality. Right? He goes about doing his job, and you don't even know he's out there other than watching him play and seeing what he does. He has come on so much, because we're talking about players that have come on. He is one of them. He's a bit, I'm not going to say he's an unsung like hero or whatever, but he could be so more effective. When I first looked at the groups that we had, and obviously players were coming in and going out, I looked at it a different way, because I'm looking, I wonder how many of these could play upper level, you know. And I'll be honest, there wasn't many. There's some that had and now finished. But I looked at a couple towards the end of the season, and I'm thinking, step 4, some of these could play. I'm not saying they'd be the main man in a step 4 side, but I'm talking about, we've always spoke about Bobby. I've got nothing bad information for Bobby. I'm going to chuck Milesy in that category. Harry Prince has been there and done it, so it's a little bit different for Harry. And Bailey would probably get into that category as well. So many of them have come on. You know, they're different players to what they was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
This is why, you know, it's nice for them to say, oh, I've made a difference. But the difference has been made by them. Yeah. They've made the difference. They're coming out now onto the pitch a more confident individual, which makes 11 of them more confidence as a side. You know, they go there believing they can come away with a win, which wasn't the case when I first come here. But so there's a lot of credit to go, you know, to a lot of other people. And let's do some sucking up here. Without the setup that's been provided for them, they're not able to perform like that. Without that, I mean, that has been massive, you know. There's people that could have done things better. But John O's not here tonight.
No, exactly. Yeah, he's busy tonight. Yeah.
No, but all these things, it's like a little jigsaw, really. Put all these pieces together, then you'll find the reason why we finished the season like we did. So much better than when we started.
Yeah.
There's a lot of contributions that go to not just any one or two things.
Yeah. No, I really think, just to echo you guys, I think you spoke about the confidence, John, and just for me, obviously they had more confidence out on the pitch, but I think they had more confidence in themselves as well, even just coming off the pitch and speaking to fans and things like that. It's Bailey's a top lad, and that's, you said that's his personality his personality is completely different to someone like Harry Prince. Harry Prince could go up and talk to anyone. That's just different personalities.
Yeah.
But Bailey, I think, just using him as an example, and there's plenty of other lads like it, they grew in confidence because of what they were producing out on the pitch, and they've then grown into themselves. Like the conversations that some of them are having,
Yeah.
they could never have done at the start of the season when the results possibly weren't going their way, and you then don't realise how important good results can be for a team in general
Well,
Yeah.
the little
Oh, of
thing
course.
is,
as a group.
Yeah.
saying that, I mean, how many of these players have played in front of
Yeah,
Regular.
I was
The
I was about to say,
Fans,
yeah.
full stop, just
It's very
fans.
daunting. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
daunting.
But when you win in a few games and they're with you,
Yeah,
do
yeah.
you know what I mean? It sort
Yeah,
of snowballs, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for me has been they will come and talk to me in the bar and they will want feedback about their own level of performance. They're still doing things, so they're not in position to do that. I'm sitting there and having a chat with them, and I will go through stuff with them, and they like that.
Yeah.
And that for me, and for all of us, is fantastic that you've got a group of people that want to get better, and they want to get better playing here. They don't want to get better by going down the road and picking up 50 quid. At the moment, they're happy here, and they're happy with every single bit of it, whether it be used, you know what I mean? And that is a massive compliment to the whole setup. I don't hear any of them moaning about shit now. You know, all that, which you might have got at the beginning of the season, as they come off the pitch, oh, we was shit, that was shit. You don't hear that now. Now they're a different animal now. And going back to my thoughts about could they play higher? Yeah, there's some there that could play higher, but
Start telling them.
I won't tell them that. But I have got a job.
Yeah.
I have been offered a job at a step 4 club. So who do you not want me to take first?
Me.
You're safe.
Yeah, so obviously that's we've gone through the players that have grown in the season and surprised us. Is there any real player that you would say has stepped up obviously there's leaders now. Seems like everyone's got a voice in there to a certain extent. But is there any real players that you think have properly stepped up and chose to lead more than normal or grown since the start of the season?
Yeah, I think so. I'll be honest, off the top of my head.
The easy one to say is Harry Prince. You know, he's
Yeah.
you know, from the start.
Yeah.
You know, he came in not knowing anyone. But as the games went on, he'd become that lead.
Yeah.
We were saying earlier, didn't we, about it?
I'm assuming Ray as well, considering he's our captain.
Yeah, obviously that's
That would have been my. So, and I was just going to say, I think Ray, forget football.
Yeah.
Ray as a captain was grown.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Without doubt.
He's more vocal.
Yeah, he seems shy at the start.
You know,
Well, grown. He was 6'4" when he got here.
but he's another. To be fair, I
It's a
never
long way
had,
out there.
I never had him. But I knew him. He was the same age as he played against us. But
Yeah.
I always knew him. And to be fair, even as a kid, we got quite well with him. He could have a conversation. Do you know what I mean? And he was.
No, that's not a surprise. You got on with someone.
But he, you know, you could talk to him at the time. And no, for me,
he's come on.
yeah.
Well, as a captain.
Just knowing how to lead a changing room.
I think what he's done, I mean, at the beginning you had Burnsy,
Yeah.
and if Burnsy stuck around, he was going to be that sort of pivotal sort of like person to, you know, the character, the banter, leadership. Burnsy knows the game inside out. That didn't materialise because of injury, whatever. He'll say it's injury, I'll say it's drink.
It can be a
but
form
no,
of injury.
but Ray has stepped up, you know, and he's a good player as well.
Yeah, he is a good player.
Certainly helps, yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any funny or standout moments of the players that fans would like to know or
I think about it.
Yeah.
that we haven't heard before?
Got to involve Lewis, isn't it? I mean, he's like,
So you had him at Christmas, didn't you?
getting something wrong.
At that Christmas party with the top.
No, but everyone knows about that. Everyone. It's everywhere.
He's well aware of.
Yeah, the players have grassed him up pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty much over that one.
I was trying to think about that one.
Yeah, I can't.
We can move on.
But for me, even a question like that shows and as soppy as it may sound, that shows how open the club is and how
Yeah.
how well the players get on with fans, owners,
Nothing stays secret.
committee.
No.
You can't. There's not one thing that can be named in a season that people don't really know that stands out. And for me, you got to take pride in that, and
Yeah.
that everyone can mix and
Yeah.
be one.
I honestly thought he knew when he first come over.
Yeah.
I thought he knew players here.
Yeah, that's what I can believe because he was. I think he was the
confident,
first.
Yeah.
Him and Faith that were the first two on the podcast, if I remember rightly.
I think they were.
Yeah, and he was like, obviously, he put his name forward first. And
Mike was wearing his Sunday best, wasn't he?
yeah,
Boy, look dapper. He looked decent.
in his big brother diary.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to Lewis, and everyone was like nominating him, like, oh, he's the funniest and he's the biggest banter and that. And I was like, dude, did you know anyone? No, I just sort of came in and hit the ground running, really.
Newbie put him onto it.
Right, okay, yeah.
And I remember texting Newbie at the Christmas party, saying, "You give me like he's top."
Signed by everyone.
But
He's a great character.
Every club needs a Lewis.
Yeah. I know what my answer to this question is, but do you have a favourite moment shared with the fans this season? I mean, my one is definitely Fulp with Tommy's goal.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad because poor Prince's goal gets completely.
Yeah,
I've said
real
that
free
because
kick.
it was
Unbelievable.
that
Unreal
new
free
kid was-
Unreal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember.
I mean, that was unbelievable. That goal, like technique-wise, is such a hard goal, but it gets completely ignored because of the 3 minutes that happened after. But yeah, I think that was the moment where I was just like, "It is so enjoyable."
Yeah.
I think only because what we said earlier, for me, it would be the Barnstone game, walking.
Yeah.
It'd be so hard walking across, doing that walk.
Yeah.
With the negativity, not
No.
don't want to go over.
Yeah, I know.
top,
You know.
you know what I mean? It was hard, and that one when we come off, I was like, it was such a
Yeah.
relief.
Yeah.
That one. Off the top of my head, I think that was probably.
I'm glad I wasn't here for that. Barnstone game.
No, you weren't at the top of the stairs for that one.
You went on holiday again, didn't you?
No, I just couldn't stand him crying.
Yeah, Kevin.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you with the Barnstone game. I think for us as managers, for them as players, to six
6 games,
games, yeah. And for you as fans, because it was quite easy, you could have not walked away, but
stop coming,
I ain't going over there this week, this is going to be, but you stuck with it as well, and to see yous all cheer and.
Just a quick one, if you don't mind. Like we've been through the results and that from the league. We lost the first 6. We obviously didn't do great in the friendlies, but we were playing much, much higher opposition. Did that affect you in any way? Like, even though the level was higher, was you starting to get a little bit worried when because we had a few bad results in a couple of friendlies? Don't get me wrong, to Canby and to much better sides.
No, they didn't. Not for me. I only because I think we still. Don't forget. I think Div 2 was probably the marker point, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So everything that we done, and I said it to you the other day, Kev, didn't I? I was like, when you actually look back, obviously planning this pre-season, we look back at last pre-season, we're like, God, it was absolute carnage. So I'm drifting off your.
No, that's fine.
It's like a trial day where there's 70 odd people to go. Then it's trying to whittle that down. Then we had a spell between the trial day and the beginning of pre-season. For me, I thought it was too long. I thought that this year. So that was too long, and then you go into pre-season, and the group that we was planning on having, a lot of them dropped out.
Didn't materialise, yeah.
So then you sort of picking up or staying with players that maybe you didn't quite want to, but actually you got. So it was difficult, wasn't it? But I still thought the side that we had put together, had we gone in Div 2, we probably won it.
Oh yeah, I think that's clear.
When you're not thrown into it, because like I said earlier, I think we would probably the ones that mainly wanted to go into let's have a go at it.
The Prem,
let's have a go at it. Come on.
Yeah.
But you do obviously then it's a short window to go. Hang on, we've got a Div 2 side that now has to perform in the Prem, and then has to turn quickly. Though, probably to be honest, your friendlies almost seemed a little bit of a blur.
Here's a tip for you for this year. You can have pre-season. Hopefully, there's a few games in there. never ever read anything into pre-season friendlies.
Mhm.
Never, because it's pointless. One, from friendly to friendly, you probably would never put the same team out there twice.
No.
You'll probably make 6 or 7 changes during the game.
Hmm.
What are you going to get out of that?
Yeah.
All you're getting out of it at the moment is fitness for the players individually. It's a bit of game time, and you're learning something about players. Results just don't matter one bit.
And that was
Makes sense.
but that was highlighted more because of where the club was. Because all of a sudden we just got to get this group together, start playing games. I didn't know Harry Prince. I'd never met him before in my life. We didn't know. I think he was around at that time.
You're in for a treat there, weren't you?
But you look across it and we're like.
I remember he
Who's
messaged
playing?
me. He went, "Oh, got a guy called Harry Prince." I went, "Yeah, what's his name?" He went, "Well, he's scoring goals." Have a look. I was at work. Yeah, let's get him over.
The goals package, yeah.
We might have found a little package, yeah.
But yeah. Sorry, just like with the friend, what you I was like, yeah, you're just completely like up against it in terms of like you're playing games against. You don't know what level you're going to be at. You don't know the players you've got. You don't know anything really. To be honest with you, it was all a bit sort of made up as we go along.
Yeah, that's right.
But when you're hitting that first game of the season, then that's the first opportunity you get to set a marker of where we're going to be playing, what level we're going to be playing at this year, and these are the players that we've got. And can they do it? That marker felt short. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever it was. So yeah. Sorry, back to
No,
the original question. It was just all a bit of a
Yeah.
Even the trial day was a mess, wasn't it? In a sense. Well, I mean,
what's that meant? So,
well, I did offer my services to watch the game.
what?
No,
He
listen.
goes on, do you know what he goes on about this? He's so wrong.
Let him finish, let him finish, let him finish.
Let him finish, then I'll put him right again.
Go on, John.
Procedure.
Go on.
There was two games,
Absolute sob story.
2 games going on the same day. Yeah.
Yeah, I was over here.
Trial game on the main pitch.
Yeah.
Dog and duck players playing a game down the bottom.
I don't come back to this trial.
Yeah, save yourself the afternoon, lads.
Fancy another go at it.
This is true. Listen, no, and it can. I couldn't watch the trial game to give an opinion on any big. Do you know why? Because one of the teams on the dog and duck side didn't have a goalkeeper,
So I remember you playing. Yeah.
and he shouts out,
No,
"Dad, go and goal!"
That is farcical.
No, you know what? It's such a made up story.
I know, I believe.
It's not made up story.
I'll
You were there as well.
Yeah.
I was there. Yeah. I don't remember John being in goal, but
Yeah, no,
You
remember.
I'll tell you my version. Anybody listening who knows him will know I'm 100% right. So he coached them. We had 3 goalkeepers that day, and he coached them.
So you was a
Said, right,
goalkeeper
give us-
coach.
Give us your opinion at the end. What you think of the goalkeepers? So, but at the start of that trial day, we had said we will do a 1 mile run. That will decide who the split. The fitter group will go on to this pitch, and the unfitter group will go on that. And that was straight away how to split 70 players. Like I say, he had the goalkeepers. Eventually, we get to the point where we're playing games. 3 goalkeepers. We need a 4th. Without asking, I'll do it.
This is
I'll go
not
in
different
goal.
to Master.
he said without asking.
I'll go without asking.
You volunteered about
Yes, sir.
Kev, did you look at me and go, leave him, let him get on with it? And that was
Kev ain't getting involved. I can tell you that now.
Sure, is it?
It's a family affair.
Yeah.
And I was like,
One of them coincidences that happens a lot in our relationship. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 different stories. Got a sex somewhere in the middle.
I went to the edge of the box, right? No.
The sweeper keeper.
Right, so out of the whole season, if you can give me a game that give you the most stress and a game that give you the most joy.
Stress for me, dead of my heart.
Oh,
Oh,
What a terrible
Three-
day that was.
Was that the 3-3, wasn't it?
Yeah.
3-1 up, weren't we?
3-1 up.
Red
Game
cards,
over.
2 red cards.
Finishing
in the end,
9
I think.
men. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we threw that one away, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Great day that was.
yeah. That was still in the early days when it was like we're trying to get
We
points.
were
in
just-
box.
yeah.
And again, I think like you talk about the learning curve. I think that was probably a big learning curve for someone. Well, because
Wake
it was
up,
like,
yeah.
you're in a position where you're 3-1 up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10, 15 minutes to go, and
Yeah.
going at
Coasting,
one.
weren't we?
You
Yeah.
know?
Mhm.
Sorry, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, probably agree. Yeah,
Stressful, that was.
Most enjoyable.
Would you say the cup game as well, when we lost on penalties? You found that stressful, was you
Yeah,
not?
that was a goal.
Because
That was another one I think we
Supposed to
threw
forget
away,
about
didn't
that
we?
one.
The game was terrible, wasn't it? We should have just won it. We'll just give it away, didn't we?
what made it worse is like you approach the game like expecting to win it, because obviously when we beat them in the I know
Yeah.
you shouldn't expect to win any games, but you just kind of thought that. But
Yeah.
obviously the way we just weren't ourselves, I felt, and then yeah, just
Yeah, it was a funny one, but I felt deflated after that.
Mm.
Yeah, I think we all did. I think the
It's like,
fans
oh, we
did,
can't
didn't
last
they? Yeah,
that
yeah.
one. Yeah.
It's like you weren't disappointed. It's just like, oh, that was an
Oh,
opportunity. missed.
I think even like, 'cause I think that's the key with cups, because obviously they keep going and you get the next round and you look at it going, we should get that.
Yeah.
We was looking
Yeah.
at it,
Especially with a draw and
we
a
was
draw.
looking at it, we was looking at the
And
draw.
I think on the same day Kings Park had gone out as well.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
went over and I see that and I was like, what an
And
opportunity.
Crescent, I think, that same day.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think
Yeah,
Crescent
it was
went out that same day as well.
Crescent and
Yeah.
Kings Park went
Went
out.
I think it, yeah, I don't know where it is now, but yeah, I remember looking at it and thinking we're on the wrong side of the draw because we're on Kings Park,
But they got
and
knocked
then
out.
they got knocked out. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
But
Well, we won't talk about penalties
Yeah,
because
we'll
that
move
weren't
on.
the best experience.
Yeah.
We missed a few
But the most
pre-seasons.
enjoyable one. Yeah, I think it's been a lot.
I think there's been a lot, yeah. I don't think it's
Different
just
reasons.
one I could just pick out.
It's funny because even like the White Nobby one, I thought was brilliant. Like Reevesy.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I thought that was just brilliant.
Yeah.
that was
I
one.
thought
When
the-
he scored it too, and I went to him and he wants to go. I said,
Yeah,
I can't believe he would.
Yeah,
You know,
it's like a game, wasn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, it sort of fell into place.
Yeah. Unreal.
Tiptree away? No,
yeah, Tiptree
Yeah,
won
Tiptree
5-1,
away.
didn't we? You give them a
that
bit
one,
of an
because
idea.
that was the first time we'd
Yeah, yeah,
given a side a bit of a.
yeah. Maybe that was our first away win.
I've
Actually, I
seen-
think that was the first away win, wasn't it?
Might
Tiptree.
have been, yeah.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah,
was.
I think-
But they were still
Yeah.
down there at that point. That was
Yeah.
before they got better. So
Yeah,
Yeah, then that was
that one.
The cup game is the cup game you're talking about, the one where we played away.
Harold Hill.
yeah.
Harold Hill, I'm thinking of that
Yeah,
one
yeah.
because that was
that was a hard game.
yeah. They, to be fair, on that day, individually they had a level above us player wise.
Well, they
Yeah,
got
one for
Archie,
one.
didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Just
So
had at Tilbury the season before.
Oh, really? Oh, blimey.
Or,
yeah, they had.
I can't remember Geezer's name.
They had a
He
few
scored the
decent
winner, didn't he?
players.
Do you remember? He was a left footer.
he scored goals all year, hadn't he?
Yeah.
All
We
year.
kept him quite lewd after him all
Yeah.
game. And then there was something we
It was a
There was a
it was
corner.
it was a corner. It was a corner, and they
no,
counted from the corner,
no,
didn't
but
they?
he played against Lou, up against Lou the whole
Put
game.
the
And
other
then
side
the
in.
last
Come on,
5
the
minutes
other
he
side.
went and changed to the other
Switch.
side.
Yeah.
And I think we said at the time, shall we put Lou as a left back? Yeah, as a left back
Because he's
he
done
looked
well
after
with
him.
it. Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah,
didn't look
yeah,
after
yeah.
And we didn't. And then I think he scored a
Great,
bit later.
yeah.
or
It's the little-
something
it's the
like
fine
that.
It
details,
was,
isn't
it
it?
was, it was from a corner, wasn't it?
But yeah, there's lots of games I think where you go through them and there's like, you almost think like bits were written for us. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
upgrades thing. And I
Yeah.
think like,
Tommy got there.
that one.
Yeah, full.
What's the other one I was going to say? Who's Bottom? It was.
We didn't get to play one night the second time, did we?
I think for me,
No,
it
we
was.
got the points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the key ones.
Oh, was
Where-
it? So that was. Sorry, Mike.
Go on, what was you going to say?
I was just Pebble.
You read my mind, mate.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Telepathic
That
there.
was comfortable.
It- That was where we bossed it.
We bossed it.
That was the key thing for me.
We-
We was in
we
control.
played.
We absolutely played them off.
Yeah,
And
they
they,
did.
to be fair, they give us a bit of a spanking.
Yeah,
that night.
oh, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Not
A
long
bit,
for
before.
us to
a
go-
bit.
Yeah.
It was
for
6,
us to
wasn't it?
go-
Was it 6?
6-1.
For us to go there, play the way we did, not just we, but play the way we did, I thought was brilliant.
Ridiculous, yeah. That was a game I expected us to lose, to be honest. I'm sitting there watching that one on the VO, and I thought, oh, they gave us an idea a couple of weeks ago. They didn't have the glove, did they?
But,
They
it
literally
was-
didn't have the glove.
It was. We stopped that. We said earlier about there were certain games we started slowly. We started that one straight away,
Yeah.
and as soon as Zizi scored, I thought we don't look in loads of trouble here. Obviously, football things can change, but I felt we always bossed that game, and that was one of the first games really where I've come. Obviously, we had results and we played well in patches and things like that, but that was a game where I really come away and thought we was all over them today. Like they didn't ever look like winning or even scoring really.
Lost that game.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to them at half time, looking at their players just before the half time break, and we'd popped the ball so much, they was like, they were knackered.
Yeah.
I said at half time, I went, you just got on where you want. They can't. They're blown up.
Yeah.
They're just chasing you constantly.
I think another one that gets overlooked as well was Els Cone away.
0-0, yeah, and they were up top of the league.
Yeah. I think they were second at the time.
Yeah, and they were beating teams well
comfortably.
4 and 5.
Yeah.
But once again, you're now looking at their side is gaining confidence every week.
Yeah.
And that would change performances, and performances changes results. So it would have been interesting if we'd had another half a dozen games to play at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because I actually thought we were just getting that little bit better each time.
Yeah.
You know, but, yeah, I mean, it's just them early games. That didn't surprise me at all. And this is not a cheap joke either. You know, as I say, you shouldn't be too disappointed about them early results. Them early results are a big reason why you improved.
Yeah,
you know, massively reason, because for all the reasons I said earlier. So I wouldn't hold that against them. Hopefully they won't do that this year.
But them first 6 results, I think we come away from Aylesford the first game.
Yeah.
And I thought we'd done pretty well. I thought we'd done pretty well.
We had 10 men for quite a while, didn't we?
We'd done well, thought we'd played well. And then the performance went just for 5-6 games.
Yeah, just fell off. Yeah.
You know?
Different.
Who would you nominate for the Joker of the season award? I think I know who you're going to say.
Go on, next one, mate.
Lewis, is you, by the way.
No, just before that, obviously we say it's Lewis, but I would say that there's got to be some credit to all the boys in there.
I love them
because it's so they've all come on the podcast before, and how good of a change room it is. But you can just see that even on the coaches and things like that when we've gone. It is a proper group. There's not like and a couple of boys have mentioned it on the podcast before when they've come on. If they've played 1 or 2 leagues higher, that sometimes you get that clickiness and you get little groups that split off. But it seems like it is really solid. And obviously you have got Lewis who is the Joker of the season, but you've then got people like Molesy.
I was just going to say
Molesy gets on with everyone.
Newer players.
Barnsley's come in a bit like Lewis. Sometimes people just laugh at him, but no, he's a good lad. But no, he's real credit to obviously you guys again, just to getting that.
I think the recruitment has been bang on in it mid-season.
Yeah,
like since the start, everyone you've added, I think, has improved us.
Yeah,
I think pretty much everyone.
Yeah, they probably have, to be fair. In many,
apart from one.
That's non-league football as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I didn't start each season with a side that I was happy with. You think I need better, I need to replace, and that's what they've done really well. You know, and obviously some of that is a bit of luck because you don't know what you're getting. There's people coming in here. Yeah, my mate says he's really good. Okay, but you know, I can't think of any nightmares that have rocked up at training and got a place in the side on the Saturday who have been really bad. I think the ones that had done has improved us. You know, when you look at Reece, Ross,
Harry Daly when he's played.
Harry Daly. You know, I mean,
Molesy wasn't there from the start.
Molesy,
Kieran.
Yeah, he wasn't, was he?
He's a massive, Molesy.
He come in. His first game was Hatfield Peveril when we lost.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I think it just shows him how much he's enjoying it.
No,
enjoying it because when he was at his previous club, he worked, played.
Yeah.
But you've said this before, haven't you? About him. Yeah. And he just said, I just want to play all the time now.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I remember you saying that, we've got Molesy over, but he normally has to work every other week.
Yeah.
So we'll see when we get him. I think he's had work, once?
I think once.
I think
Yeah.
once that's it.
because
Yeah.
he chooses to play.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
And
so that just
That's a massive
volumes.
compliment, isn't
Yeah,
it?
Yeah.
100%.
Speaks volumes,
I think,
definitely.
to be fair to him, playing more regularly, and I feel like, yeah, I know you said it earlier, he'd probably become a better player, and someone, I think, if he wanted to, he'd go on
Yeah.
playing with them, couldn't he? Which maybe that might not have been highlighted to himself, I don't know. I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
It's that little core, isn't it? You know, you've got your Princey, you've got your Bobby, you've got your Milesy, and it just so helps that they're all in that middle of the
Yeah.
park.
Mhm.
You know, that's a
They all
little.
work.
We
They
have-
work so hard, you know. Every game.
It is. I mean, I've watched Bobby, and you're looking and thinking, you shouldn't be on the pitch. You're struggling. You're injured.
Yeah.
But he don't
Oh,
stop.
he don't want to come off, is he?
Work on
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And as I say, so is Princey, so is Marksy. That sort of heartbeat at the midfield or of the side has been so important because they've outrun other teams in that area.
Easily at points.
You know, if you like they do on telly when they do the running stats.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I'd love to see that done with them three.
Well, I've said to you before, I know we can't, but I'd love to know what they are towards the end, which is what they was at that first little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to just go off.
Yeah.
And I think, to be fair, I think even, I would say Harry Prince, but I think he works harder now than what he did at the start.
He's able to. Because the more games he played, he was getting a bit. Even though, like, I can't talk about his shape, can I? But you know, he's not. He doesn't look a specimen of like total fitness.
He's done a
But-
5-kilometre run this today.
Yeah,
Give you Joe.
yeah, but he's not finishing till tomorrow.
Yeah, but not all players that are quality are in peak physical fitness at all points, are they?
No.
Talk about yourself.
No.
Look, now I've got to get out of shit. Without Harry Prince this season,
No, God.
it would have been a very different games at times.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Are there any messages you'd like to give to the fans who've supported us all year on the coaches and turning up home games, away games?
You three.
Yeah, you're welcome.
We're
Yeah.
fishing for compliments, man.
Lap it up.
I think only what we touched on before.
Yeah.
I agree with what Lee said earlier. The club wouldn't be where it is. I know it's cheesy. Look,
No,
cliche,
I felt a bit
no,
cheesy
it
asking
is.
the question.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Cliche, but
It's a love
it's
it.
true though. It's like it makes it so much easier for us. And I think even like we talk about attracting players and stuff like that. Ain't other sides of Step 7 doing what we're doing. You know, even the coaches. You know what I mean? Having a coach or away game, having a piss up we use lot and like. You know, it's everything.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
All of it that
Yeah.
goes with it. Brilliant.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. As I said, I think. Okay, I think it was the Bellevue away over Christmas.
Yeah.
To get, I think we had.
Yeah.
What do we have? 40?
Yeah,
At
we did
least.
2 days.
Oh,
after.
15?
No,
Yeah.
I reckon it was at least 60
Or
there.
was it?
Had to be.
And I
We
said to you,
filled that whole one side.
Yeah.
I had said to Covo, can't believe it's between Christmas and New Year,
Yeah.
and we're at Step 7 going
Freezing
on
cold.
freezing cold,
It was cold.
It was cold, yeah.
and there's 50, 60 fans here. It's just,
Yeah.
Bonkers, really.
yeah,
But brilliant.
but it's
It's good, isn't
Love
it?
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
it's been fantastic avenues as well.
I think it's good that the way the season finished, if it hadn't had got better, people disappeared, don't they?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
started
yeah,
to
yeah,
not
of
turn
course.
up. You know, they've got some are getting on. They might not be knocking around.
We still take their membership, their ownership receipts though.
Get it early. Get it early, eh? Take my advice.
Pay up front.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Do it over 4 installments. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. No, but no, they are, and I mean, obviously, I know a lot of them when they was over there, and they just love their football, and don't think they know what they're watching. But
Move on, mate. Move on.
This one.
So that was this season. That was this season. Has anyone else got anything that they want to bring up about this season before we move on slightly? No?
No, mate. Let's move on.
Happy
Go on.
days. This season's done.
Been and gone.
Spoke
Move
about it
on.
now, finished. So next season, what's one key lesson that you'll take into next season and grow on?
think maybe like progressing on from what we already know about the side
Yeah.
that we have is
It's far easier this year.
it's a lot.
Than-
You're hitting the ground running
Yeah.
a bit more in terms of like I think last season there was probably towards the end, Kev. Not last day, but I think we played just about every formation and whatever. We did whatever we could to try
And any
get
players,
people
yeah.
in. It's like,
Yeah.
but I think before that there was a pretty regular
Mm.
formations that we
Yeah.
picked between understanding. Like Ross, for example, being up top, I think needs a centre forward next to him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a little bits like
Mm.
that.
Yeah.
You know, knowing that benefits them. It's I don't know. It's a tough question.
Yeah,
to
like kind of
answer.
filling
Yeah.
in gaps
Yeah.
rather than rebuilding a team. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we know more about them and know what they need, and
Yeah.
even like recruitment wise,
Right,
I
so
think we're probably all on the same page
Mhm.
of what we're looking for, what we'd like to bring in. Yeah,
I think on the recruitment, that's important because, and the one thing, I've made this mistake myself over the years where you think, had a good end to the season, that squad, they're all coming back next year. Not always. So be prepared.
Yeah.
There'll be some stuff that will piss you off. Because, but that happens. It's football. That happens. So, but then as you say, then you have to step into the recruitment and get somebody to take that.
well, the good thing as well is like, and I don't know if people listening to this know, there'll be a reserve team, which
We'll get onto that.
is okay.
Yeah. No, go on.
No, like, obviously, looking forward to having that. Be a big bonus for us, and
Playing in goal for 'em.
and
Could be worse.
I think, like we wanted a young side, a good young side. Willing to have players able to push.
Mhm.
Like Taylor, who played for
Yeah.
Sparta,
Yeah.
Jamal, who's played together.
Yeah.
They're playing for them, and I'm like, I only know those two, but I
Yeah.
know that they're good lads.
Mhm.
I know that they can push our lot. So having that sort of, next to us, they're going to train next to us. They're going to do pre-season next to us, and everything, and having them, and it's sort of another angle on what we've already got. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How we can work with them, and
Yeah.
it's built it.
And don't have to lose players that are perhaps not ready,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
a nice bonus as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And hopefully there'll be something that maybe in a few months' time we're sitting here saying, "Cool, we pulled him out of reserves."
Yeah.
What a player."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the aim.
There's
Isn't
an
hope so.
opportunity.
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
And
But I think it flips as well, doesn't it? When you've got players injured, we've
Yeah.
said Owen,
yeah.
getting back.
Yeah.
I mean, give him someone like that. Go and have,
Yeah.
2 lots of 90 or 3 lots of 90 in
Yeah.
reserves.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know,
That'd be a big
benefits.
bonus for us.
Yeah.
Because the lads that have been injured for a spell this season, when they've come back, I think it's really tough for them
Tough,
to
yeah.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Faith came back, and we sent Faith out on sort of a loan, and I think at the time he was like, "Oh, do you still want me?" Then
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm
But we need minutes. Yeah.
like, you need to play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he went away, he played two or three
2 or
90s,
3,
didn't he? I
yeah.
can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Come back, and he was much more used to us
Yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
that shape than what he was a month
Yeah, yeah.
before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully that'll be.
I think what's needed is a little bit more strength in depth.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
at times, through no fault of anybody's, we've played people out there that have been injured while they're
Yeah.
playing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we
yeah.
could, avoid that if you had the strength in depth. But
Even like the back end of the season, I think we all said it, didn't we? It was like running on.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was just nothing left in the tank.
Yeah.
And to be fair to them, they were saying that. They were like,
I think you go back, Bobby, a prime
Oh,
example.
Yeah.
Look, coming home from the last game of the
He
season,
said in the change room, didn't he?
he
He
said,
said I wanted to run, but I just couldn't.
but no,
My legs
that,
can do it.
he said, my knee's been probably, after 20 minutes of every game, since
Strong.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want that
You know.
on the long term.
No, exactly.
do.
But yeah, the strength in depth.
Yeah, when you look on the
Will be.
website and you see the registered players in our division, I mean,
Yeah.
like some of these sides, I'm not saying we want to be like this, but they've got like 50, 60 players. You know, you obviously don't want that, but they've got a darn sight more to call upon than we did, you know. So, like you say, you're having to play injured players.
I think that spell with that going back to that 6 games at the start of the season, I had that spell with one of the supporters, and they was like, "Can't we call upon?" And I was like, well, "Where am I getting them from?"
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Tell me where these players are coming from. We
Yeah.
haven't got it. We haven't got no reserves. Nothing like that. Other clubs, because they're established, have got all these bits.
Yeah.
of players.
Yeah.
We don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully we have now. I think we worked both ways. But to be fair, we met with the manager last week and seen good lad.
Yeah.
His understanding of that if we
What
send
you
a
need.
player down to
Yeah, what you need. Yeah.
he's getting 90 minutes,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not going down there and sitting on the bench or something like that.
No.
So yeah, looking forward to that side of things.
We know obviously the ambitions off the pitch in terms of the facilities, what we need to get in terms of making the progress up the leagues. But what's our ambition for next season on the pitch? Yeah, goal.
We said this the other day, didn't we, when we spoke?
You know, sometimes when you watch football on television, there's all the pundits after, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
is it pressure and all stuff like?" For me, I'm like, I think it's pressure to turn around to that group of players and say, "You go and have a win.
Yeah.
Go and have a go at winning it."
Yeah.
Almost to the point that if we have the same group and we've added to it, you know, brought in what we want to, I don't think there's any excuse to not at least be in it right to the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think,
I'd agree.
especially with Kings Park, obviously gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that has to be the ambition, doesn't it?
Why not?
No.
Sounds good.
And then, are there any exciting plans in place during the off season that fans can look out for? So I'm assuming that means in terms of recruitment, are we close to signing a couple of like Premier League players, or have we just got any nice friendlies to look forward to?
Yeah, when's Holland coming over?
Anything like that? Yeah.
We are going to sign. We've just got to get sign off from the committee.
Right. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah. Next question.
No, we've got pre-season friendlies coming up. I'm assuming are they getting organised now?
Yeah, all
Things
getting
like that?
organised. Obviously, it's early days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to nail things down, but yeah, hopefully.
It's very hard to get friendly, especially if you want to play better opposition, because they would rather not play us because they want to play harder
Yeah, of course,
opposition
everyone
Yeah,
for the
makes
same
sense.
because of
Yeah.
the process of pre-season. But it doesn't mean to say we can't get. Like to have got Canvey. I was going to get Canvey like we did last year. That was a good one. These teams
And
would.
sorry, let's jump in. I think if we did play someone like that, I actually think we could give them much.
Decent game. Yeah,
It
yeah.
would be a different game completely.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But
Well, like hashtag, they've got like development squad and they play decent, haven't they?
Yeah, we played them last year.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Yeah, played them last year.
Yeah.
We beat them. We beat them.
I think that we was all over them.
Yeah, I think they nicked it, didn't they?
They won 2-1.
Yeah, they nicked it,
They
yeah.
won 2-1.
Down the right hand side.
Yeah, I do
with
remember that.
rapid.
Yeah.
Tom played for them, didn't
But we beat Groves, didn't we? Beat Groves.
he? Yeah.
Yeah,
Obviously, we've got that.
yeah, we've got that again. Memorial Cup.
Have we got that here again? Because
Yeah.
obviously the plan's still
It's
alternative.
an alternative, but obviously they're still not ready.
Yeah, yeah.
So we've said we'll host it here, and I think it just generates a lot.
Yeah. I might we can get some interest in that.
You know,
Grays in town.
a lot of business off the pitch. You know, I think it's good for the club as well.
Yeah, definitely.
How many friendlies will you hope to have?
I can't remember what it was. 5.
5 or 6.
ideally, you
Yeah.
want about half a dozen,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but mainly you want 2 in the 2 Saturdays before you kick off.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you've got to leave something out, that can be prior to that. You don't want to be running out there, running your bollocks off, doing pre-season training and not having something at the end of it, i.e. 2 games.
Which again,
Yes.
we actually had this season. Our
Yeah.
last friendly we cancelled, didn't we?
Mm,
Yeah.
Because we didn't have as well on holiday or something like that. Didn't we?
Yeah.
But this
Players.
year, we
Cheap.
hopefully won't struggle because we've got reserves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pre-season will be harder this year than it was last year.
Yeah.
You know, because if we're talking about these players, well, we think they can play upper level. Yeah, we do. So they will be doing a pre-season exactly the same as a step four player.
Yeah. So it's
And I think they'll respect that. They'll appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that's going to help them in the long run.
Yeah.
It's more condensed as well. Like I say, last season
It was spread out.
it
Wasn't
was
it?
spread out.
Yeah.
It was like I remember the week one arranged right last minute. against
Thousand, yeah, was that one?
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
Greasy missed the penalty.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Drag that, didn't he?
getting there, like,
Drag that.
like
It was
putting
like
up
a run,
late,
yeah.
and putting their socks on the side of the pitch. Do you know what I mean? I was like, this is not what I want.
Yeah.
So it'll be none of that. Instead of that one, it'll be done.
Nice.
Good. Then, last question. Sum up the first season, inaugural season, East Thurrock Community Football Club in one word, if you can, and why. One word, singular word. We'll go around the whole table. Who wants to go first?
You're not asking me.
Oh, big now.
Mine would be togetherness.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good actually. Yeah.
No, you can't jump on.
That's good.
Everyone's got to come over.
Get a thesaurus and look up
Yeah.
together.
What's another word?
Family.
One word.
Unity, yes.
Unity.
One word. This is on a personal note. Rewarding for me, because obviously I didn't want the old East Thurrock to die. So to still have the name of East Thurrock, it's been very rewarding in that aspect. Yeah. I don't want to get emotional.
Don't start. Don't start again.
I just can't help it.
It's been emotional. Yeah.
It was actually.
It was quite emotional.
Well, you're telling us. Wow. John, you on?
How I'm emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, you got emotional. You're nailed down. Boys?
My mum was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I looked forward to my weekends at work, and it was getting me through the week. Literally, I mean, like I say, I'm kind of different to you guys because I'm not part of non-league football. I'm a Chelsea fan.
I didn't know what fun you were.
Yeah, so I'm not. I've never really been. I only started going to East Thurrock United about 4 years ago, and even then, it was like a couple of times a year. You know, it's not really my thing. But then it started to become.
Why not?
Well, it did. That's the thing. It started to become.
Go into detail.
No.
Yeah.
It started to become
Was
my
the football
thing.
not entertaining?
No, that's because you was in charge. Yeah. Didn't like 0-0 draws, did you, Frank?
No, and then I started to go, and then the club folded, and then it was sort of
So-
like,
Basically-
the only problem time you would have come across when we beat them.
Yeah.
So you
Cheers
only
for
started
Tilbury.
watching East
Yes,
Thurrock.
yeah.
With Tilbury,
yeah,
yeah.
and you want, that's it then. Yeah,
That's what it
you
was.
Put me right off it, John. I'm a bit of a bok actually because I started supporting them with. That's what who is it? Mark says. Mark Kenyon. He always says you're a bok, mate. Whenever you're here, I started going to the old club. It folded. I started coming to this club. We lost the first six.
Yeah.
Just go away. Just go back to Chelsea.
Yeah. Fair.
So can you answer me this?
I'll go on.
Who fucking invited you tonight?
Weren't me.
No.
Just rocks
I was
up.
walking past. I saw you come in here.
Had his polo on. Warren?
Well, like Kev said, like togetherness, the unity. Like I just like the family element of the club. Like everyone's
Family.
Family.
Oh,
Good work.
family.
There you
Like,
go.
is that one word?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
That is good.
Fucking hell.
What? That's not your word.
I've got this horrible vision as you being my brother. Family.
Who was?
He's got
I
enough on
think
his
it's just
plate.
good when you come off the pitch, everyone's together and they, in a bar.
Yeah.
There ain't no separate.
No,
Nah.
to
Yeah,
everyone.
it's
I just
it's
love how
good.
players mingle, like all of them.
Yeah.
Mingle with anyone, talk to you.
It ain't like we're in a separate room
Yeah.
having a sausage roll.
Yeah.
And
But I think that's what I like
Yeah.
about the level. It's like, you sort of like, you want to kind of keep it like this forever, and
Yeah.
hopefully if we grow, obviously it won't always be like this. Eventually, you can't all be mingling with fans. You're going to have to actually, get a bit more, maybe after, but certainly not like walking through us and all that. But
There is one thing they need to change. They need to take the ban off of not letting the manager buy a round of drinks.
was there a ban on that? Is there?
Obviously, that's what
That's half. That's half.
We'll change the constitution.
Piece of shot.
I said, John, it's the end of the season. Still banned.
So I'm going to go on a slightly different side. Mine's proud. Because if and I've said it in previous podcasts, if you've said when we sat round Jack's dining room table, where we'd be now. Finish if you'd have said after 6 games we'd finish 8th. There's so many things that you can explain after the season or the current situation that we're in. You go, yeah, we've done pretty well, you know.
Mm.
And it's far easy to be 2 in at the bottom, but if you come 500 meters and look down, it's amazing. It's unbelievable what we've done, and it's only the start. We've had 1 season.
Yeah.
Or we've talked about all of this, and we've had 28 games in the league. It's ridiculous. So, yeah.
Did Jono get happier as the season went on?
I don't think he could have got any worse after 6 games. I've got to be honest. He was at breaking point. Anything that you was feeling, I think he was close to being the same. I'm being deadly honest.
I always tell the story of your dad. I remember when that final whistle blew at Barnston and we're all down in the pen.
That's where he cried.
We're all jumping on each other. And then I see your dad and I gave him a hug and literally I felt his knees just go. He just like all his weight he was just so relieved. Jesus. Dad was honestly, he was so relieved. Not all of it. Not all of it.
Frank would have been on the floor. No offense.
I just felt like the weakness in him. It was just like, thank God.
He was really emotional.
But that's as sop as it is, that's how much it meant to him. And
No, that's right.
It's obviously you guys spoke about desperate to get first points and wins on the board, but until that whistle goes, we still had 0 points on the board because anything could happen. We spoke about Dedham earlier. Game can change so quickly. You can see 2 goals in a minute sometimes. These all straight from kick-off. But that final whistle, everyone cheering, all the players coming over and shaking hands and things like that, and look where we've come since.
I think that's why it didn't matter. That last final whistle with the last game of the season, I think that's why it just kind of it was everything that's been this season. It was just nothing but pride. There was no disappointment in that last game.
I enjoyed it.
No, it's good.
Yeah, but the season was just great generally.
Yeah,
it was brilliant. Yeah.
That was quality.
No, it was.
And
Good pubs as well, wasn't it?
there some quality pubs.
There was some good ones.
There was some quality pubs.
I like Dedham. Dedham's a lovely little
Well,
place.
the one at Bellevue where we went to a pub, which was about a 15-minute walk, and there was one opposite the Bloody Crown.
About 2 minutes away. We'll remember that for next year, won't we?
Yeah.
I don't know what game it was. It was close to the end of the season, and it was a photo taken, and it was just like a crowd of East Thurrock fans.
Yeah, that was Dedham.
Was that Dedham?
Down the road. Yeah,
Was it?
yeah.
And I don't know who took the photo, but
It was
I
after
looked
you
at
got,
it.
Liam.
it was walking down from the coach, wasn't it?
Yeah,
To the game.
Yes.
brick wall
Yeah,
behind.
yeah.
And I looked at.
Yeah,
Yeah, it must have been because I couldn't get on the coach. I had to get back, but I looked at that and I thought, wow.
Yeah. We just took
You know?
over. We walked into the pub there, and then we just like, what's going on here? Like, they just couldn't believe this crowd coming in. Like, yeah, we're playing football. We went back in there after. How was the game? 0-0. We're all still enjoying it.
The best thing in that scenario for me was we went to Brighton Sea.
Oh, I love
Because we went to the pub at Brighton Sea that was a good 10, 15-minute walk, right? Obviously, the result wasn't great. We'll skip over that.
No.
But we got there. We got there first of all, and we couldn't get in for another half an hour. So it was all standing that side, and we thought, this is a good start.
Yeah.
Everyone else is in the pub. They all come down to the pub afterwards. We go, and they all thought that we was going there to see Brighton Sea Region because there was a good... We had a coach, so there was a good 40, 50 people there.
Yeah.
We all crowded in this pub. It was a local pub, small, nice enough. And they go, oh, yeah, the Regent's that way. We go, no, we're not going to see Brighton Sea Regent. We're going to watch Brighton Sea Town at a school.
Yeah.
And it's like,
They didn't even know they were.
what are you on about? It's like,
They
but
don't get that many proud for the region.
exactly.
Do they? That's it.
But it just shows the example of people following, and yeah.
We probably kept about 3 or 4 pubs in existence.
We probably have, yeah.
That little,
Them little
I think we
village
kept
pubs.
every single pub in existence we went to.
Yeah, that was...
It was. But no, it was
Farmer James.
Jake.
Oh, that was early.
Jason.
Bobby was Elton.
That was
That was
Tiptree.
Tiptree, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, mate, I remember him coming up to me in the bike. It was on the way round.
he don't.
Stunk of onions. Oh, mate, I was like,
The thing is,
Yeah, why?
he's been sober for
He has no-
the whole season.
I
Next
don't-
season, you're going to really see it. Feeling.
Apart from, I don't think he's had a drink since, has
No,
he?
he hasn't.
Jason?
The
No,
next season, he's on it. So
Yeah.
get ready for onions.
no, it's quality. No.
and that was where Solid as a Rock.
Solid,
Solid
rock,
as a rock,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, called Bobby Reeman.
He interviewed Bobby. Yeah. Have you seen that?
Right.
He interviewed.
And Bobby's so polite. He went, "Yeah, we played really well."
So for anyone who hasn't seen that, for anyone who hasn't seen that video, Jason interviewed Bobby, or Elton as he called him, who did play for us at the start, and Faith. He goes, Elton, how was your game today? And Bobby's like, yeah, it was all right, mate. Yeah, we done well. We done well. He's being really polite. I think Bobby,
Far too long.
Literally.
To not know his name.
yeah. And if you look there, Bobby's been really polite, but he was really scared of him. The boy looked really, really scared of Jason in that moment because of how many he'd had. And he apologised to him the week after, and that wasn't a problem. But it was just so funny. And that just summed up the day, but how much we enjoyed it. But no, it's as I said, it's only the beginning, and bring on the roller coaster.
Can't wait.
We're all aboard.
Last, I'm just going to say one more thing as well. I think this has been brilliant podcast thing. I think you do. I'll just say, I think you do such a good job, and genuinely, like I talk myself, like every Wednesday.
Yeah.
I love to sit down.
I'll pick through.
Like,
Yeah.
Is it on yet?
Who's on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love watching it. It's good. Good getting the players.
I was going to say, yeah.
It's a good bit
That
of
was-
banter.
Yeah, that was tough at first.
Them.
That I think
Yeah.
what
Yeah,
broke
like,
what broke it
they're-
what
they're-
broke
they're
the
like
barrier.
itching to get-
Yeah.
they're like-
Yeah.
There was one. It might have been.
Was it?
There was one that come on, and then they all loved it. That they all wanted to come on after that.
Was it not the Lewis Faith one?
No,
No, it weren't.
Wasn't it? Casey.
Oh, it might have been
Casey
yeah.
was with someone, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Who's he on with?
Oh,
Nah,
Yeah.
Purdy was
no,
with
the
Kieran
Purdy and
Moore.
Molesey. That was
Yeah,
quite
that
good.
was a good one.
Or when you had Salter and Calbeck,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was quite a good
Salon
one.
Colbeck was a good one. Yeah.
But no, it's and even for me and for us boys, the players coming forward and going, oh, when am I going to come on the pen?
I
And it's
literally,
like-
I messaged Ross because he'd only played like 2-3 games, and I thought he ain't gonna want to do it already, probably. You know what I mean? I messaged him. He was like, "I can't believe you've asked me. I can't wait." He was like so adamant. I said, "We'll try and get someone else with like on if you would make you better." He was like, "I don't care." You know, I probably ended up getting better.
I'm surprised he didn't start asking you questions.
Oh, mate, that boy don't be quiet, is he? That boy, he can talk for England, that lad. I thought I spoke a lot. He's
Doing a team talk. I'm going, we're doing this today.
had a warm up last. He wasn't sharp.
Yeah, okay, Ross.
Give us a minute, Ross. Yeah.
Well, I think there was
Kick off at 3.
three didn't come on. Was it about two?
No,
Out of the
one.
squad now, the only one,
Zizi.
Zizi's the only one. Obviously, some of the boys were going
Reece ain't been on.
Oh, yeah, but he was abroad. I would have had him on. I did text him and he never replied. So I thought, oh, yeah. I texted him to come on and he ignored me. He didn't open it. I thought, oh, that's
No,
odd.
he
and then I got to the Saturday and it was like, oh, he's in South Africa. I was
No,
like,
but
I said, I'll let him off.
He normally takes 5-6 days to get back to you.
Oh, really? Is it like business days? Yeah, fair enough. But no, I appreciate it, John, and obviously I'll give you your 50 quid after. Thank you very much.
No, we enjoyed it.
But no, it's a good laugh, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
yes.
we change around the times a little bit when we can do it with work and things like that.
It's hard. It is hard, especially trying to get all three of us.
Yeah,
Wouldn't believe how hard it is to find 20 minutes married
I
up.
know.
It's so
Yeah.
hard.
Especially with kids and
Yeah, that's it.
I can't relate. Sorry, but but no, it is quality, and next season we'll obviously have everyone else back on.
Yeah.
Some new questions to dig some players out, but no, it's all a laugh.
I
We
would
do it for the
do
laugh.
more like this, like we're all together, as opposed to doing it all on Zoom all the time. Like if we can, like get together.
And with the mid-season one, start the season.
I just think it's better to do it like we are around the table.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
That's the aim anyway.
Get reserves.
Get them in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Angle.
Yeah, of course. No, sounds good. We'll keep evolving, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
I think that wraps up this season. Has anyone else got anything to say or on for tonight? Obviously, we'll have a chat about the got a presentation on Saturday.
Yeah.
So get your you can buy your tickets online. I think we've still got a few left. Get those in. I think it starts at 7:30. We've got a few awards to give out. There'll be a couple of laughs for a couple of them and many memories shared. I'm sure. But has anyone else got anything before we wrap up?
Just from me, which I've echoed all season, a massive thank you to everybody, the owners, the committee, supporters. You know, I think it's been, brilliant. I got into non-league with these two. Got asked
You don't say it like that. It wasn't a prison sentence.
Well, we did.
I've heard easier ones.
It did become that.
I say nothing. Because I'm on there. I'm not saying nothing.
It did become that. But no, you know, being at Great Wakering and Tilbury with two Cobos, you know, I thoroughly enjoyed. But this is just there have been another level support of why, you know.
I think sorry, Joe. I said to you. Remember, I said at the start of the season before this, I was like, we've enjoyed the other bits we've done. But we really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because obviously knowing the supporters, it's I know the two living clubs, the oldies for one, but it's still got that.
Can we just let it go?
It's got that close to stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
whatever reason, I don't know if that's something about the area or what it is.
Everyone wants to go in the same direction.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But no, massive thanks. It's been brilliant. Lovely.
Well, thanks to you three as well. What you do for the club, obviously, really volunteering, coaches, and obviously sticking with us after the start we had, and still believing that we could turn it round and got us where we got to.
Credit to you boys, definitely. No, we say credit to the players and things like that, but you got to have admiration to sticking at it, and most of all, thank you for bringing Senior along. Because sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that. I'm sorry. Yeah. No. All jokes aside.
in the same car.
Appearances he's with you.
Oh, he's giving you a
Hey, to be fair, I'm not sure I could have played National League South.
Can I get a
It's
game?
level.
What we got to do? We're away to Bath City.
Yeah, go on, mate. Yeah. Who are you playing against today? Woking.
Truro.
Yeah, go on, lovely. Thank you. Truro just got promoted to the National League. Come on, mate. I appreciate that. Thank you, John. But no, it's been a good laugh, and we're all looking forward to where it's going to go. I think, and then, as we say, everyone's in the same direction, and we've now got a couple of weeks off. I think, just to chill before training starts again. But
Well, I was dragged around Lakeside Saturday, so
Can't wait.
I'd love to sound jealous. Yeah. But no, you don't get time off, no.
I've got to play in 16 training sessions.
16. Wow, that's a lot of training sessions.
Yeah.
Are you in goal for any of them?
No, because I'm playing it.
Okay, nice. So, yeah. No, don't start this. But no, I think that pretty much wraps it up.
Yeah.
Everyone. And yeah, as I said, it's been a great first season, and long may it continue. And up the rocks, most importantly.
Exactly.
We go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
Cheers.
Thank you next time.
Cheers. Thanks, boys.